Hi, my name is Daniel Damolen. I'm a financial advisor and retirement planner here in Singapore with Global Financial Consultants. Today, we're going to talk about, is retiring in Australia for Generation X become a lot harder? This video is about Aussies who want to return home or other people retiring to Australia. This video covers areas where self-funded retirees will run into some traps, and those traps are higher tax on their retirement income. Let's go into details. Most people, when they approach their 50s and thereafter, start to accumulate shares that they use then in retirement to help support their retirement income. It might not be all their retirement income, but they plan to use shares outside of super to fund a portion of their retirement income by way of dividends and by way of selling small amounts of these shares as they go through their retirement cycle. Following the proposed changes to taxation, this strategy probably doesn't work as it used to. The main reason is that as they go through their retirement years, selling off shares to fund their retirement in little batches every year to make part of their retirement income becomes a higher tax situation. So those shares that they want to sell, in the past they would sell a portion of those shares, they would use up the tax-free threshold and use up their 50% tax discount. And if you were selling $30,000 or $40,000 worth of shares a year, you wouldn't be paying that much tax. That's all changed now. So you'd be paying 30% or above on average for a parcel of shares over $40,000 because you've lost the 50% discount. So that strategy probably stops now to be part of your retirement income plan. The other way people that I've spoke to over the years plan for retirement is they have a bundle of properties that they use rental income or they use to fund their retirement. If you're returning to Australia and you're using properties as retirement income, generally I advise against this because properties are bulky assets. You can't just sell half a property to fund the next 5 years of retirement. You have to sell the whole property. You've got a main issue there is that if you're living back in Australia, you have to sell a property, you lose that 30% discount. So going forward from July next year, you wouldn't get the 50% discount. Even if you're not working, it would be very easy to cross over into 40%, 47% tax territory on any sale of property that was not your own, that you live in as principal place of residence. So that leaves us with superannuation. Look, everywhere I've read in the last week or so, people are admitting the last place for an Australian resident or people going back to Australia that want to have some type of vehicle to save money for retirement is superannuation. And I agree. At the moment, if you're a resident of Australia, that's probably the only place. If you're an offshore resident, we'll come back to that. But my concern is that is superannuation going to be the next vehicle that they're going to look at changes towards tax around? So just be careful about this possibility. If you're a non-resident of Australia and you're thinking about retiring back to Australia, yes, we have a few options for you. If you'd like to make contact with us, we can go through options where you can leave money offshore, very tax efficient when you go back to live in Australia in retirement. Those I would propose above using other vehicles or superannuation, as there's still a relatively amount of flexibility around these. The other problem I have with superannuation is if you're doing part-time work or contract work, you can't access your superannuation until you're 65. And most people I speak to nowadays, they want to retire before 65 and they want to do some contract work or do some consulting work. So this is another issue. Anyway, in general, that's the 3 points I want to make today. If you'd like to reach out, if you have any problems with these or you're planning to go back to Australia to retire and you want to have a talk, please do so. Happy to talk. Thanks very much for watching.